Hello, and you are listening to FPcast, the podcast for Fruitless pursuits where we bullshit about the week in pop culture. I am Luke.
And I'm Jacinta.
And this week we are talking about...
television, collectibles, video games, comics, books, board games, and more.
Friday.
hot potatoes.
Oh, I was like, what the oh, yeah, okay. That's so mean. It's been a week and it still stings.
I'll explain that a little bit later in the show. Today we are reviewing the movies. Wind River, finally got to catch up with that. That's Hawkeye and Scarlet Witch's new film. Then we're going to talk about Gifted, which is...
Captain America's new film.
Then we're going to talk about the Hitman's Bodyguard.
Which is Nick Fury's new film.
With Deadpool.
Well, he's not part of the same universe, but yeah.
He can break the fourth wall.
No, he can.
Do whatever he wants.
Should he? Should he?
Well... You're not Bugs Bunny, Ryan Reynolds, as much as you believe that you are. And finally, we're going to talk about Netflix's critically acclaimed, well-received, everybody's really behind this, Death Note. So refreshing to see white people get a hold of that story.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Yeah.
So there you go. Plus, breaking news. It's not really breaking news, but we had Force Friday in September, which...
We did.
For me, personally at least, that's like Christmas and a birthday all together. This was all the new merchandise just got slopped out into shops for The Last Jedi, Episode 8.
Yeah, I'm not really as enthusiastic about Force Friday because I know all my favourite characters, all their small versions of themselves look like complete shit. So I know that I'm going to walk into the shops and be disappointed, but...
Oscar Isaac, no one can sculpt him.
I know, he's just so, he's so uniquely beautiful that they just cannot capture his essence properly. They try.
He always looks tired.
Yeah, though I think if I was Domhnall Gleeson, I would be trying to get approval over my figures for the next movie because he looks shocking.
I don't think that's a sculpt problem. I think that's just a fucks Hux, like who gives a fucks Hux, you know.
Poor Hux. Like his figure is far and away the worst.
He's the one that you just whip out before you go on an early lunch break, I reckon. Like if you're sculpting at Hasbro, you know, you get your Rey. You want to definitely get Luke working. I think they did a good job on Adam Driver. I think one of the best sculpts of the new 3 3/4 inch figures is actually Rose, played by Kelly Marie Tran. I think they've done a beautiful job with that figure. And then everyone's like, yep, high five, let's go, beers are on me. And then someone's like, you haven't sculpted Hux yet. We do need another Hux. And they're like, he's still in this thing? Didn't he die or something? No, he got out. Remember, he ran out at the end. Okay, well, yeah.
Yeah, and then the person painting him did the exact same thing. They're like, well, I mean, I don't have like a proper hair colour for him. Let's just get the most vibrant orange that we can find in our palette.
I wouldn't be surprised. You know how paint colours have really interesting names. I wouldn't be surprised if that is redheaded stepchild orange.
Yeah, it's not an attractive figure. So yeah, I wasn't holding out much hope. I had watched the Toys R Us did a live stream at it was like 10 o'clock our time, so it was a nice time for us to be able to watch that, going through all of the new toys that they were getting in and stuff. So I was pretty well prepared for what I was going to be going into to purchase or otherwise the next day.
And what about your Porg life? Because we did have a debate earlier in the year whether we were going to be pro-Porg. Definitely decided to err on the side of Porg life. Hashtag Porg life. Did you get a Porg fix?
I got a small Porg fix. I bought 3 things on Force Friday. I was very conservative. I bought the pop vinyl variant Porg with the little wings out.
I got that one too.
Yes, I bought a stubby holder, a resistance stubby holder with our main heroes on it, which I really love. I love stubby holders. And I bought the Black Series Poe Dameron helmet, which when it had gone up the night before on Zing, they had it for like $250. And I went, I'm not spending $250 on that. That is insane. And then the next day, they readjusted the prices and it was down to $150. And I went, oh, well, $100 off. That's a bargain. I'll have that. And I went straight out and bought it. It's actually a lot cooler than I thought it was going to be. Like, I put it on. I was like, oh, this looks really awesome. And then it was like, oh, well, you put batteries in it and it does stuff. And I went, oh, okay. So I hunted down some batteries somewhere in my house and put it on, pressed the button, and little BB-8 springs to life in my helmet. There's speakers inside the helmet and there's a microphone as well. So BB-8 starts up your X-Wing.
Where does the microphone go?
There's the actual helmet microphone comes out, but I think the actual...
Which is like on your chin.
Yeah, but I think the microphone is just in the front part of the helmet.
So it was a surprise. So you polished Poe's helmet and then you discovered that you had balls on your chin.
Balls?
The BB-8.
More like balls in my ears.
Okay, yep.
Yeah, because the speakers are in my ears.
Yeah.
The microphone's down the bottom.
Near your chin.
Yeah. Well, that's still not balls. But anyway, and then Then you go, okay, BB-8, let's go. And he fires up the X-Wing and he goes, and you go off. And then you go, hey, BB-8, what are we doing? And he goes, and then suddenly it's, and you're in a dogfight and it's fucking rad. It's pretty good.
You hear them like barking and...
Well worth $150.
Biting each other?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
I got that same Porg you did. I also did buy the Chewbacca figure just for the 3 3/4 inch Porg that accompanied it. But I did buy the interactive Porg. We talked about this earlier, speculating that there would be a Furby-like Porg. I don't think we can interact with this guy. I don't think he responds to any commands or anything. But here we go. Here's some Porg noise for your Porg life for Force Friday. There we go. Genuine Porg on the show. How about that? What a great bit of fun. And for me, it was Ray Day. You know, where's Ray last time? Oh, there's not enough Ray stuff. There was quite a lot of Ray stuff.
There was a lot of Ray stuff. But the thing is, like, people didn't appreciate the fact that Star Wars is not for fucking children anymore. As far as the toys and stuff go, it's a collector's area. And the first character that was always going to go was going to be Ray. And then suddenly people went, oh, where's Ray? And it's like, well, everyone's already bought them. And if you missed out, then it's too fucking bad.
I had a very strict no Ray left behind policy on Force Friday. I don't think there was anything... Well, there wasn't anything that I saw that was all about Ray that I didn't buy. Apart from, like, the plastic lightsabers with her face on the box. But if it was an actual picture of her properly... I got a mug, but otherwise all the figures, all the sculpted Rays in my possession. Something I just wanted to mention that I thought was kind of interesting was the only Lego I got really was... I got the little Rose and Finn dropship thing, escape pod thing. But I also got the big Gorilla Walker, which came with the Ray figure, so that's very cool. And I was tempted by this big Star Destroyer, which has Snoke, but I was disappointed because I keep hearing this idea of Snoke having an elaborate throne room. And in this Star Destroyer, he's just like sitting up in a seat at the top. It doesn't even look like a throne. And also, there's no Lego guards with him either, the Praetorian Guard, the new Red Guards. And I'm thinking, well, what's that about? Look, today, did you see this thing about, that's not his actual ship. So he might appear on that ship. His real ship is called the Supremacy, which is the first mega thing. And it looks like a big wing. It almost in shape reminds me of, you know, when Padme comes in on that big wing ship in, I think it's Attack of the Clones. And
I've seen that movie once about 15 years ago, so no.
Yeah, let's not bring it up. But anyway, he's got this big wing ship, so I imagine that throne room is happening in there.
Okay.
And this ship is so big, they build other ships on it. And I guess this is really the new Death Star, is this really big ship. That's what he's got instead. And instead of going, well, we're putting these guys on a planet, they've got the Supremacy. Now, apparently this Supremacy is 60 kilometers wide.
Okay.
So think about that. Like you're setting up your panning shot, you got the camera on a track. You can shoot that fucking camera 120 kilometers an hour, half an hour of the movie, right there, just going across the Supremacy. And that's just the outside. So if the movie opens with the opening crawl and then this ship goes overhead like the Star Destroyer in the original one, make sure you got popcorn. You could take a piss. You could go for a walk. It's going to be going for a while. This thing is just going to be sliding over our heads.
They'll do the opening crawl over the top of those supremacy.
Yeah, and even then, like, it's going to save them, what, a couple of minutes? You're still looking 27, 28 minutes of this ship flying overhead. It's a big ship. So, you know, if you were catching a train inside that ship, couple of zones. You're going to have to get a dearer ticket. So, thought that was interesting. People, and if you didn't know that, you just heard it here first, right?
Yeah, I think I'm at the point where I'm not wanting to know like a lot of extra stuff now. I just want to be surprised.
Oh, you don't want to be spoiled by knowing that it's 60 kilometers.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. I want that to be a surprise.
Because I'm sure they'll probably put up like a card.
A big ruler.
A big ruler.
A big ruler along the bottom of the screen.
Or like Finn will go, looks like that ship is 60 kilometers wide. And then Han's not around, unfortunately, because he would be like, what's a kilometer? And he'd be really confused in the grand tradition of Americans everywhere. So speaking of Americans or not Americans, you sent me a bit of casting news about this Teen Titans live action TV show. And would you like to share that?
Well, yeah. Wait, who is he playing? Is it Robin?
Yeah, Robin or Nightwing. They're saying
Nightwing. Yeah. Okay, yeah.
It's Dick Grayson.
Yeah, Dick.
Who's, you know, as a child, he's running around in his underpants being Robin. But as an adult,
he's very serious.
You have to put away childish underpants. So he runs around in his big boy pants with his disco collar and his mullet.
Yeah. So no better person, I think, really. Like, who else would you cast as Nightwing than Thwaites? Brenton Thwaites.
I think you are going to... Like, when you say Thwaites, I know you're going to need to provide a lot more context. Then you give his real full name, Brenton Thwaites, and I'm thinking you're still going to have to provide a fuckload more context for a lot of people.
What, Australian acting legend Brenton Thwaites? Why don't people know?
Western Australia?
I don't think he's from Western Australia.
Okay. So Thwaites, little upstart, bloody Thwaites.
Son of a gun, what was it? Gods of Egypt. That's about it.
Yeah, was Son of a Gun the one that... No, he's Pirates of the Caribbean too.
Oh, Pirates of the Caribbean. Yeah, Son of a Gun was the one that was set here.
Where he's in the prison.
Yeah, with Ewan McGregor.
Yeah. So little bloody Thwaites is going to be Nightwing?
Yeah, seems like it.
I don't know about that. I feel like...
Well, isn't Nightwing a bit of a flog?
I think he has to be American though. Like, I think he needs that real sort of... American, like there's a certain belief and a kind of dog-eat-dog arrogance that I think Australians are very poor at playing. Big example of that is like Hugh Jackman playing this, like, what was it, the Olympic athlete skier guy who's supposedly
Eddie the Eagle,
arrogant prick that sold everybody out, and he just looks like friendly barbecue dad. Like he doesn't have that just we are winners and we are going to win everything sort of spirit that I want to see in Nightwing's eyes. Because
I mean, Thwaites is such a bloody good, dead set Aussie legend, good actor that I reckon he'll be fine.
Well, hope so. Obviously, they've seen something in Thwaites.
Well, I mean, ultimately, like, I don't care either way. I'm not going to watch fucking Teen Titans, but I mean, good on Thwaites. He'll pay his rent this month.
With casting and stuff, usually it's the benefit of the doubt because I think they've seen something in him that we haven't necessarily seen.
His asking price, I imagine, is probably pretty cheap.
Pretty good price there. But then at the same time, when it's like an American production casting an Australian, I'm like less sure. Like I'm like, oh, was the thing that they saw in him compared to the American actors that went for it that he'd been through a system which had education and healthcare and, he can talk in sentences and walk on his hind legs and all those sorts of things. I'm curious about this, though. I haven't watched really any of the DC shows, but and I'm sure we'll end up seeing the costumes and stuff, and it'll be Inhumans / Legends of Tomorrow / all that shit all over again. Nightwing as a character. For me,
He's the poster boy for douchebags, isn't he?
He is, in my opinion. Like, there's a certain person, I think, that Nightwing is their favourite character. And if I was going to paint a portrait of this character, the person that loves Nightwing, I feel like there's somebody that takes comic book black and white morality very, very seriously. They're the sort of person that actually feels like inspired by the morals at the end of like 80s cartoons and stuff. I think this person has had the same haircut that they had in the 90s.
They're a total neckbeard, basically.
No, I don't know if necessarily they are, because I think like neckbeards are like the big jovial kind of go with the flow. They like a bit of Deadpool. He's so funny. He's so wacky. He's my favorite character. Look at him. Whereas I feel like the Nightwing guy is the more quiet kind of. He's a bit of an edgelord, to use a word that you used the other day. Yeah, you know what I mean. That guy that sort of writes in his diary and does gestures for women that he thinks are really actually quite thoughtful and romantic, and then he's actually surprised and
when they don't fuck him
and bitter that it doesn't work. A guy that gets friend zoned, and whereas an
MRA.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm pissing off. We could keep talking and see how many stereotypes I can piss off. By
Nightwing. DC's MRA.
Look, no, what I'm saying is if you like Nightwing, you're an absolute piece of shit. I think that's definitively what I'm saying.
Okay.
So, yeah. So, look, but Thwaites...
Good luck to Thwaites on your mate. Give him a little clip on Rat's tail, he'll be right.
I know someone's going to be like, yeah, look, your distorted idea of what Nightwing is not what Nightwing is at all. Like, read the comics, it's fine. But I did actually read some Nightwing during the New 52, which I know, we evoke the New 52 as if that was a new thing. It was like a 2013 or something thing. It was a long time ago. But, he was still, no. He was a dickbag in that as well.
Yeah, and trying to say to us, Nightwing's not as bad as you think. Are you trying to, do you think we actually care?
Well, it's
I don't give a shit what Nightwing's actually like.
It's the same person. The person that likes Nightwing, their favourite Ninja Turtle is Leonardo.
Oh, gross.
And their favourite X-Men is
Cyclops.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know who you are. But please continue to tweet. Thank you for your support. I just want to mention Inhumans while we're talking about shitty TV versions of superheroes.
Great.
Now, that is out on IMAX screens.
Yes.
If we were so inclined, even here in Perth, we could go this afternoon and watch Inhumans.
We could, yes. I did see someone on Facebook saying, oh, Jesus, I'm going to Inhumans. It's like, why? Why the fuck would you do that? Like, this is going to be up to stream in about 5 hours.
Well, that said, I'm not seeing of any leaks or anything, at the moment, right now.
Because there's no public call for it. No one wants to see it, even for free.
If you want to watch Inhumans, you have to go and pay to see it at the cinema. But I thought, oh, God, it's out. But I haven't heard any buzz or any stories about it. So I went on to Metacritic, I went on to Rotten Tomatoes, and I was like, well, what are people saying about this thing? And there is no score, because this thing, it's not a film.
No.
But it's not a TV series either. So by doing this...
It's a special event.
Yeah, they've created this weird void, this Inhumans grift, where they can take your money for a ticket, but there's no
You can't rate it on the internet.
for the critics to review it. So Inhumans is out there. While we're recording now, it is floating around completely unaccountable for what it's doing.
Is it on Letterboxd? It would be on Letterboxd,
Yes,
wouldn't it?
there are people reviewing it on Letterboxd.
Okay.
But if you want a proper... I mean, that could be anybody. That could be a cat walking across a keyboard. If you want the top critics and their opinions... not available because of this weird ghost-like existence it lives between these two worlds. And I don't know if that was calculated or not, because if it is a piece of shit, which Letterboxd seems to think it's pretty shitty. Well, everyone's saying it's just like a 90s syndicated superhero show. Like, there's nothing epic or special about it. It's not going to give you eye cancer or anything like that, but it is what it is. It's what you see in the trailers. Yeah. But, not being held accountable, slipping under the radar, so I thought, no, we're going to call it out. We're going to say, hey, Inhumans, we know what you're doing. It's not
We
cool.
see your game.
We see your game, yeah. Well, we didn't buy a ticket. We didn't see it, so... but I will. I will watch it when it
Pirate the
becomes
shit out of that when that comes available.
available online. And
Pirating is bad, kids.
it is. And finally, a little Bumblebee update. I promised I'd keep you up to date on the best movie of next year. I know you're very interested in this, particularly as it pertains to the young star of Bumblebee. Bumblebee himself, obviously, is the star of it. But Haley Steinfeld, are you familiar with her work?
Oh, the Moist Girls girl.
The Moist Girls, yeah, that hit Moist Girls. Very relatable, I imagine. But yes, she's a diver in this film.
Okay.
A diver. What kind of diver are you thinking?
Don't know.
Wow.
No, Luke, I mean, you can't say... I mean, I know what you're going to say, but she's so young, you know?
No, I think she's in her 20s.
No. I think that if you were to talk about a primary school child doing the activities that you were insinuating,
Haley
like
Steinfeld.
that's no, she's not. She's in primary school.
No, she's definitely in her 20s.
No, I think she's getting her bronze medal in her swim safe certificate.
Well, yeah. Well, when I heard diving, I thought, okay, obviously, big iron bell helmet, and a lot of these scenes are going to take place in Bioshock, in Rapture, in an underwater city.
I'm going to pretend that I know what that is.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, it's a pop culture podcast. It's a pretty big pop culture reference. But
It's still a video game thing, but go on, yes.
she's on a diving board in a swimsuit with a diving cap.
Oh, she's one of those
She's
divers.
one of those divers, gonna do tricks and stuff. And although she's in a swimsuit, she's got like a harness on, and so there's weird lumps under her swimsuit in places that they shouldn't be. So that's either the harness.
You shouldn't be looking at her lumps, but sure.
Or that's something. Well, I mean, you know, if you see an unusual lump, you shouldn't ignore it. You should investigate it.
Fair enough.
So that's general advice for everybody. I don't know what she's hiding under there. Could be a couple of porgs.
Yeah, it might be.
Oh, I know.
Yeah. Don't turn the pork back on.
Oh, it's
Don't.
tough,
Yeah,
tough,
good,
tough,
good.
tough. But yeah, so there you go. And also, this is interesting. You know, we talked about...
Oh, is it? Okay.
No, I think so. So Hasbro apparently, and I read this just today, and it was only 4 hours old. I think it was on Comic Book Movie or something. But they were saying that Hasbro is putting out a lawsuit against, I guess, like Mattel, DC, etc. And
I did see that.
Yeah, wants them to stop making their Bumblebee doll, which is one of the DC superhero girls. And we've talked before about Clamp Champ and the Tosser and the diverse characters that get a raw deal in these lines, which are mostly white people. And then they basically are like, we want you to stop selling
The one black character
black character that you have in this thing. So, because she's called Bumblebee.
Yeah.
Because people will think she's a transforming car.
Yeah, that's a bit of a stretch, really. You can't have exclusivity to the word Bumblebee.
But what about grandmothers?
What about grandmothers?
Well, you know, the grandmothers, like, it's not a problem for your RI, it's a problem for grandmothers. Christmas 2018. It's the hottest movie of December, because it comes out in December. Like, it's just huge. All the kids whispering in Santa's ears, even Santa's and grandmothers, whispering in Santa's ears, I want a Bumblebee for Christmas. And they're thinking, I'm going to transform this thing, I'm going to be revving it around on every surface. Open it up. Here's a doll of a black girl in a Bumblebee costume.
I don't think grandmas are that stupid. I think it's more like if the kid comes to them, I want a Bumblebee, that they get them like a full bee farm and the bee farm suit.
Like they open a package and bees swarm the child's head.
Yeah. I think that's more what grandma would probably do as opposed to getting the small black girl action figure.
It's like a Nicolas Cage Wicker Man scenario. Yeah. I think that rang as many bells as Bioshock for you just then.
Yeah.
And then finally, apologies and retractions. This is a segment which I feel like as we get older, we're going to have to do more and more often. We talked about Taylor Swift.
Oh, no, I don't want to talk about fucking Taylor Swift anymore.
I just want to do a quick retraction. Because I said, I'd only heard a bit of it. And yeah, it sounded bad. and everyone's saying, oh, it's a bad song. I listen to the full song, and then I watch the film clip, and I take it back. I think it's fine.
No, it's fucked up.
No, I think it's good.
No, I was getting kind of used to the song because it had been being played on the radio like every 5 minutes, and I was like, I still hate the chorus, but the verses aren't too bad. And then I saw that film clip, and I was like, no, she is a petty piece of shit, and I'm not interested in her anymore.
It's theatre, it's drama, it's like all pretend, it's all constructed anyway. I brought up with you the wrestling, the World Wrestling, I don't know what they call it anymore, World Wrestling Entertainment. But that is America getting all excited about these fake feuds. It's all pretend. It's all drama. It works really well. Why would you not incorporate that into a music industry, which is struggling to begin with? It's all fun. She had a good old poke at Tom Hiddleston.
Completely fucking unwarranted. He has been nothing but nice about that whole thing, and she's being a cunt.
Tear-stained pillowcases at the Hiddleston house. Mm-hmm. I thought, you know, and to...
No, there's a shitty one where the bit where she's in the bathtub with the diamonds is a reference to, I think it was last year or 2 years ago, Kim Kardashian got robbed in her apartment and she was tied up in the bathtub as they stole all her diamonds out of her safe. So, like, that's kind of shitty.
Let's have a moment for the poor lady that got a diamond stolen.
She got assaulted and tied up in a fucking bathtub. That's fucked up.
Yeah. But you know, it's a you're gonna cast me as the villain. I'm gonna be the villain. I'm gonna do this hyperbolic look at all the things that I've been accused of, and I'm gonna own them. Like, you're saying I'm a snake, here I am in a throne surrounded by snakes, and the snakes are bringing me drinks. It's theatre, it's fucking fantastic.
I'm not interested in giving any more time to Taylor Swift on this podcast.
Alright, I just wanted to apologise to you, Taylor, because I thought you were great.
You're a fucking dumb cunt.
Maybe. Should we talk about, speaking of which, let's talk about Jeremy Renner and Wind River.
Yay! My favourite dumb cunt.
So, Wind River, set us up.
So, Taylor Sheridan, he was the writer for Sicario and Hell or High Water, yes?
Yes.
This is his directorial debut, so he wrote and directed this film. And so I guess we had fairly high hopes going in, I think. And we had battled to try and see this film. It just hadn't worked. We'd been trying for about a month, and eventually the stars did align. And we got there and...
It hadn't worked. We've been trying for a month. We went to a clinic. We got some good advice. And then we had a little Wind River baby.
Yeah. And so we did go and see it at the cinema. And you know what? I'm really glad that we sort of persisted and did go and see this on the big screen.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, it's much like... I'm upset that I didn't see Sicario at the cinema at the time. We did see Hell or High Water at the movies. And I think these movies... what my favourite thing about all of them is that they take kind of almost realistic situations and landscapes and make them feel otherworldly and alien. And Wind River is a fantastic example of this. It's set, I don't know what state it's set in, but somewhere in the mountains. There's lots of snow, lots of cold business. And Jeremy Renner's character finds a dead girl in the snow, and the movie is about finding out who did it, what happened, and all of that sort of thing. And there's a lot of kind of stuff under the surface, unresolved past things that bubble up as well. And Elizabeth Olsen is the FBI agent who sort of gets stuck with dealing with all of this. And I loved it. I really, really loved this film. This would be a top fiver for me this year.
Yeah, Taylor Sheridan. Like, that's what... When you first were like, oh, Wind River, I want to see that. And I'm going, yeah, you want to see it because it's got Jeremy Renner in it. And I'm looking at the poster. I made fun of that before. He looks fucking terrible.
I had told you many times. I told you many times that this was a Sicario movie.
Yeah, and when you say, okay, it's that guy, I'm like, all right, now I'm interested. And full credit, he's the real deal. He's 3 for 3 with me. I love all 3 of those films. And the fact that he directed this, and I feel like it... you're all going to have your personal favourites in there. They're very different subject matter, while at the same time being tonally and thematically, like the DNA between them all.
Yeah, I was thinking this morning about which I liked better, and I can't split them. They're so different and so great in their own in their own rights.
Whereas at the same time, there's kind of echoes of each of them within.
Yeah, I think Hell or High
others.
Water and Wind River share a lot more DNA than, say, Sicario does, but there's a lot that ties them all together.
I don't know, but then there was something to do with, like, Emily Blunt's character in Sicario that I really felt in Elizabeth Olsen's character and,
I guess
in their sort of paths and the way they were drawn into something which was
not what they were fully expecting.
and
I
also had a cultural grounding, like it was
Yeah.
something where somebody was coming in to solve a problem
that they didn't fully understand.
and couldn't really ever understand because it was something that was so ingrained in society and culture and how these people had operated for so many years that it wasn't a problem that you could just come in and solve easily. And even though this obviously has a beginning, middle, end, etc., and there is a degree of resolution, certainly the kind of information that is pertinent to the film that comes up at the end, the real world statistics and stuff, no spoilers about what all that's about, but shows you that this is a piece of a problem and it's a problem that's ongoing and it's very real. So in that way, I think all three tie together quite interestingly. So yeah, and the fact that he directed this, and I don't see really any dropping, and we had Villeneuve direct the first one. Now Taylor Sheridan's directing his own stuff, and I don't see a drop in quality. I think it was beautifully directed, and beautifully performed.
Yeah, I'm thinking that he may end up being a bit of a Taika in that you may have your own personal favourites, but I think they're all going to be good.
Yeah. Well, he hasn't failed yet, so really enjoyed that. And have you looked him up? Do you know a lot about him?
I don't really know. He's coming to Australia at some point for one of the film festivals or something.
He was an actor originally, which is why it's so interesting. And an actor that hasn't done anything sort of breakthrough. It looks like Sons of Anarchy is his biggest thing. But he's been around forever, and he's not a terrible looking dude either. So he's been in stuff like Party of Five, Walker Texas Ranger, VIP with Pamela Anderson.
There you go.
So for this guy to have done that, to be an actor sort of doing bit parts and stuff for all this time.
Yeah, to end up a fantastic writer and then I'll just try directing and then fucking knocking it out of the park. It's Jesus Christ, dude, settle down.
Ability and ambition. So I just think that's fantastic. So I love the film.
The performances were amazing.
Yeah.
Everyone was very, very solid.
Yeah, Jeremy Renner getting asked to do a lot more than he's normally asked of. Jeremy Renner has some great monologues and bits in there.
And his character's very sort of, there's a lot going on below the surface that only gets leaked out very, very slowly, and
he's leaking below the surface.
Yeah, and he had some really great scenes with Gil Birmingham, who I love seeing in things, but I think Gil Birmingham is in the danger of being like that. Oh, we need a Native American guy for this film. Let's just get Gil Birmingham, in the same way that Dev Patel's like, we need an Indian guy for this film. Let's get Dev Patel.
I felt like that as well. He turned up and I was like, really? Everyone's getting... But then I thought, of course, he was in Hell or High Water, so there's a connection there. And obviously he's somebody that they have a great fondness for. And once you get over that, he's great. Of course.
Yeah, he is amazing. It was probably... He probably had two kind of main scenes, and they were probably the most sort of emotionally impactful for me out of the whole film. Yeah,
so a big success. Elizabeth Olsen, I enjoyed watching. So yeah, totally
fantastic.
Recommend it. It's I don't it's certainly one of the better films, objectively, that we've seen this year. I don't know how it goes in terms of favourites and rewatchability, etc. for me.
I didn't think that the others would have a lot of rewatchability, but I did catch the last 20 minutes or so of Hell or High Water on TV the other day, and it was just as gripping and fantastic as it was the first time, even though I knew everything that was going to happen. And I think it would have pretty good... It's one of those things that I probably wouldn't necessarily sit down and to watch again, but if it was on, I would definitely watch it again.
I promised to explain my hot potato comment. Some of Jeremy Renner's outfits, he's like a hunter, a ranger in the snow. We haven't talked about what this film's about. It really... have we?
Well, I said there was a Native American girl that ends up dead, and he has to. They all find out who did it. Basically,
So he wears like white suits.
Yeah, he's
Not
basically
like James Bond, like white snowsuits with hoods.
Yeah, he's basically an exterminator that goes out and kills coyotes and wolves and stuff
So
like that.
imagine him all in white with a hood on and just this potato face poking out, and then you have your Hoth potato. And look, I wanted to wrap him in foil by the end of it. Very.
The shittiest thing is like the movie just finishes and I'm sitting there going, oh, this was fucking magnificent. I love this film
it's
so much and it's so emotional. And then Luke leans over and goes, oh, Lord, a little Hoth potato. I'll just wrap him up in some alfoil. I was like, shut the fuck up! Way to ruin the moment.
Was part of the charm. Gifted. Do you want? You can set this up as well. All movies in your wheelhouse to begin with.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So Gifted is, I think it's been out in the US for about 6,000 years. We are literally only just getting it. Opening weekend is this weekend.
Not surprised it's even getting the cinematic release here, so that's good.
Yeah, I'm surprised by how many posters and things there are. There hasn't been many ads on TV, but all the cinemas have massive posters up for it. Chris Evans is playing a dude whose sister has committed suicide and he has taken on her daughter. And then the grandma comes along and would like to take custody of the daughter because the daughter is a maths genius. And she wants to put her into better schools and do all that sort of stuff. And he wants her to just stay a normal kid and wants her to stay with him.
Yeah.
That's basically it. And I admit I wasn't expecting much from this movie. I was expecting it to be a very kind of black and white, good versus evil kind of family drama thing. But I was actually quite surprised with and I'm not saying this is a super smart movie or anything like that, but I liked the nuance in the storytelling. Like, there were flaws and benefits to each side of this debate, and the movie didn't paint anyone as super evil. And, you could see both sides, and I think, everyone did a good job. That little kid is such a little firecracker. She was fantastic, very, very funny. And, it's a very extremely solid, non-offensive movie that you can, I went with my mum and my high school friend to go and see it. They loved it. They were bawling at the end while I was sat there going, what is wrong with you? And, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, it was very competent. I didn't love it, but I didn't, I didn't have many criticisms either. I think it's exactly what you expect it's going to be.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a sort of custody thing. You see Chris Evans on a poster with a little girl. You know that you're going to get to see them being wonderful together, and then you're going to see a teary taking away and a fight back and, all those sorts of things. You can pick all the beats, and I think it's going to deliver them, but it delivers them well. The thing that sort of intrigued me, and I don't know how you feel about this, but we talked a lot, especially on Book Was Better, about this idea of America hates smart people. This idea that when people are smart in a lot of American movies and things, especially in high school or school situations, they're kind of ostracized and it's looked down upon by, like, that there's something sort of uppity or arrogant or socially awkward about being smart. And interesting you said that thing about the flaws, because I think for a lot of it, I was really opposed to Chris Evans' character. Not to say that I was on the other side necessarily, but this idea of you're showing this intelligence, you've got this real potential, we can put you in a place where that will be fostered and you can grow and you can do things at your speed and everything. The fact that he was like, no, I don't want her to be a freak.
I think his point of view was that he saw what that life had done to his sister and he didn't want this little girl to have to go through that. He was trying to protect her like that. And he'd been through a similar thing when he was a kid too. So it was like, he's just trying to protect her, and whether the whole movie's about is he wrong or is he right, really? And in some cases you can go, yeah, he's right, but in some other instances he was maybe not quite right.
Yeah, because I just thought that
Well, I mean, that's the whole debate that the movie's about. Like, what's best for this kid? And there's no... I mean, at no point do they really ask the kid what she wants. But, I mean, she's 6, so it's a bit hard to really get an answer. But she seems pretty... She wants to stay with him, but she does also want to go to these schools and have all this stuff. But then she kind of wants to have her cake and eat it too, essentially.
It's I don't know. It's hard for me to put a finger on it, but it's like this, even beyond those characters, it's like this fetishization of intelligence where it becomes almost like a supernatural thing. It's not just a given. Like kindness, we wouldn't worry about kindness. We think that's a virtue, that's something great. If you're kind, we don't have to think about, where do we put you to make that the best place. You will go through and everything's good. But with the intelligence, even this idea that, you're smart, we don't want people to think you're a freak. Like, why? I would think intelligence is a virtue. I don't know why there's this sort of fear or even this idea of maybe things bad will happen if you pursue this. Like, maybe being intelligent will lead you to be a suicidal person, or maybe the pressure and everything. Like, I feel that, and my work does involve education to a degree, that there are actually really great, smart programs that deal that I don't know what it's like in America, but do the right thing by these kids. I mean, I think everyone's instinct really is to do the right thing by kids. It's not like, oh yes, bring your smart child to us and we'll turn them into this like stressed out, unthinking machine that we're going to use as a tool to make bombs or whatever. They've all these people have the best interests of kids. So just the idea that, we've got someone smart, what do we do with that? Yeah, it felt strange to me.
Well, I guess the other idea is that it felt like it was a pretty out-of-the-way town. They weren't in kind of a major city or something like that. So, yeah, maybe they'd not really had to deal with that kind of thing before. And he does say that he wants her to go to school and be a normal kid because he wants her to learn better social skills. It's not that he wants her to... Yeah,
but even then, being a normal kid, and we see how she's held back within that class structure, because the truth is, if you've got 30 kids, it learns as fast as the slowest kid. So there's a lot of frustrating time there. But this idea of kind of reining back your smartness socially, I think is really prevalent in American culture. I mean, certainly if you listen to Book Was Better episodes, we're always calling that out. That idea of, you don't want to always have the answer. You don't always want to show this up. You want to, you can do this, but you want to keep that aside. I think that's kind of interesting. I think it's like pulling one person back rather than pushing everybody else forward. But I don't know. As you said, the movie's a debate. And it certainly didn't change my... And like you said as well, I think that it's not so black and white, and that there is this discussion, and that the characters aren't, you're
right and you're wrong. And I think ultimately you can see in each character's heart that what they believe they are doing is right. And they justify it, quite solidly too.
And let's be honest as well, you've got a shorthand there through even casting Chris Evans. He is seen as that. We automatically assign a lot of those sort of virtues.
The affable, earthy sort of...
of Captain America or whatever. But he is the, like, blonde, blue-eyed, all-American. Granted, if you're seeing him in a movie like Snowpiercer or whatever, even then he changes the appearance so much. But when you see him on a poster with this kid and he's the one that's looking for custody, you assume that we're going to be on his side for the majority of it. And it is, yes, as you said, it's more nuanced than that. But yeah, just some thoughts. Yeah. Throwing it out there.
Yeah. It's a solid movie. I really enjoyed it. And yeah, it was much more nuanced and debatable than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was just going to be a schmaltzy Disney get the kid back kind of movie, and it was not that at all.
No, agreed. And good we had a somewhat intelligent discussion, because now we're going to have to talk about Hitman's Bodyguard. And,
you can start this one, because I've done the other two.
Well, we weren't actually going to see this. I had no interest in seeing it, but an opportunity arose, so we snuck it in at the last minute. And, look, it's exactly what it says on the tin, isn't it? I mean...
It really is. Yeah.
It's Ryan Reynolds.
Being really Ryan Reynolds-y.
Yeah.
With Samuel L. Jackson being really Samuel L. Jackson-y.
So Ryan Reynolds acting like being sarcastic, doing one-liners, doing quips after he kills people, and not reacting to huge explosions and things behind him. And Samuel L. Jackson
Just
being
saying motherfucker a lot.
hot-headed and saying motherfucker. So neither actor stretching themselves in any way and just becoming these
Caricatures of themselves.
yeah, and I know people, Deadpool, he's so wacky and everything, but if Ryan Reynolds is just Deadpool in everything he's doing, then, like, I don't know, what's the point?
Yeah, I mean, part of me is like, look, it is what it says. It delivers what it says. It's not for me, but it's going to be for someone.
And that's just it. It's not terribly made. It's actually quite slick, and it's got a budget, and it rolls along. It's just never... It's action movie cliche. It feels like a sort of buddy action movie from a earlier time.
It's an odd couple movie.
Yeah, but with a modern slickness. You know, they don't really like each other, and they're gonna... Even the trailer, like, selling you on it is full of those cliches. He tried to kill me 8 times. Wait, 9 times. You know, like, I can't pick the movie, but it's all dialogue and stuff we've seen heaps of times before. And yeah, some of it's just really flat. So absolutely nothing special there at all. It's not terrible,
but it's not good. Like, it's a solid. It's a 2 to 2.5 movie.
You'd watch it on a plane because you'd seen all the
other movies
first, or Netflix as well, where you're just like, what am I going to watch? And you would go, oh yeah, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, you wouldn't hate yourself, but you're probably not going to feel particularly fulfilled by seeing this film either.
No, just...
It's right down the middle.
Lazy.
It's lazy, yeah.
And long, actually. Like, it feels like that sort of movie that should be an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And, like, because it doesn't have a lot of substance to it. But it's, like, 2 hours. And it felt it, too. There was a point where I'm like, well, I'm kind of feeling like this should wrap up now. And, nope, still going. And what else do we really have to add to the discussion of Death Note, the Netflix version? With an American cast and cheerleaders at the beginning.
It bad.
The cheerleaders just did it for me. There was just this sort of like, I don't know, like... The
song at the start, it started and I just went, what the fuck? And then over the slow-mo cheerleaders and the emo kid with his fucking notebook, and I was just like, oh. And that's the first 5 minutes, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah, that like American high school junk culture kind of thing.
With the football players smashing helmets and...
Yeah, just to go like, oh, that's what this story needed was,
going to prom in a top hat. Oh.
Like, yeah, you know it's going to be Americanized, but then it takes just those worst junk culture cliches that you've seen 1,000 times and... Why do you need to pepper a story which is such an interesting premise and such a unique concept? Because what I love about Death Note is, all right, you've got that initial premise, that idea, but what is actually done with that in both the manga and of course, the live-action Japanese films as well is just so interesting. It's the way that it explores that and exploits that idea and has all those crosses and twists and everything, whereas this was more about like sort of shock splatter gore effects, and I don't know what the message really was of the American version. I found it hard to concentrate on, to be honest.
No, it was a bit like Hot Topic edgy. Like, it was just that I don't know, teenage edge film that just has nothing to offer anyone who's above the age of 13, I don't think.
I mean, the demon dude looked good, but then
you barely saw him. Like, he was in shadows for like 90% of the movie.
And the Willem Dafoe voice casting there was on the nose as well. It was just Green Goblin again, really. Yeah. And that's sort of what I feel like with Hitman's Bodyguard as well. It's this thing where you're creating this product, but you're using these actors that are known for doing certain things, but you're not developing anything with them at all. You're just buying into and taking something they've already done and just going, well, can we have that as well?
Yeah.
But you didn't do the work to develop that thing. I mean, that persona that Samuel L. Jackson has is created by Tarantino. Like, Samuel L. Jackson was around before. He wasn't that guy in Jurassic Park or there's like a Lethal Weapon parody which he's in as well.
Okay.
You know, that persona, the motherfucker guy, is because of Tarantino, and you're just borrowing that. And same with Ryan Reynolds, or in this case, Willem Dafoe, which is a real shame because when you see those actors really work at something and do something unique, it's far more interesting. Like, Willem Dafoe is great in Shadow of the Vampire, but I don't know what the fuck is going on here. So, yeah.
Yeah, it was very bad, and it was very, very tough to get through, but I must say, there's a scene towards the end where they're falling out of a Ferris wheel, and like the music that's playing and the slow-mo kind of falling and reactions of the crowd was so funny. Like, it was not meant to be funny, but I was that kind of pulled it back for me very momentarily, and then it just got terrible again.
It's a dumbing down of an interesting idea.
Oh, absolutely. It's a very, very dumb movie.
And we shouldn't want that.
No.
I'll support it. I'll talk about it anymore. Fuck that thing. All right. Well, all that's left is for us to talk about the final episode of Season 7 of Game of Thrones. This will be our final Fuck Yeah Game of Thrones for the year, so that might be a relief if you're not interested in Game of Thrones. Thanks for listening to this, though. You can find out everything we're doing at www.fruitlesspursuits.com. There are other podcasts that we do. We do Half Hour History every second Thursday.
Find out about nostril fucking ghosts.
Yes, always something interesting in there. And, of course, Dungeons and Drongos, the new show. Episode 4 comes out this week, which is the beginning of a brand new adventure. And I have to continue to say thank you guys so much for everyone who's supporting that show. That has been insane. Really thrilled about that and look forward to hearing more. So www.fruitlesspursuits.com, you can also find links to our Facebook discussion group and to our Patreon and iTunes. We'd love you to rate and review and do all those things. Being in the charts makes everybody feel fancy. So Game of Thrones spoilers begin.
No. So is incest good or incest bad? I'm confused with what the show is trying to tell me here.
I feel like we have gotten into a situation now where when we look at the spin-off potential, that the sequel to Game of Thrones is going to be the inbred child of Cersei and Jaime.
Yeah.
Battling the inbred incest child of Jon and Daenerys.
Okay.
They'll have lots of birth defects.
Yes.
And when they duel, it'll be with banjos. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, and then ultimately they'll fall in love, and then they'll fuck, and then they'll make an even crazier child who will be basically like Ivar the Boneless.
Yeah.
And just rule the entire world.
So in like about 30 years, you're going to turn on to whatever the new Game of Thrones spin-off is. And it will just be some deboned raw chicken.
Yeah.
In a pile.
Just be a couple of fillets.
With some flies buzzing around it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it'll just film that for an hour each episode.
Yeah.
And it'll be directed by David Lynch.
Yeah, good. Yeah, that was... there was a lot going on in that episode.
80-minute finale.
Yeah, poor Grey Worm would have feel a bit ripped off, wouldn't he? He turns up for 5 minutes at the start, and then it's like, see you for 12 months.
Yeah, with his nipple shield.
Yeah, off you go. Yeah.
Done.
And, Bronn and Jaime standing around talking about cocks and stuff. I was like, well, this episode's getting off to a pretty good start. I liked the scene with Tyrion and Cersei in the chambers, and he's saying...
It was Dinklage's Emmy moment.
It was, wasn't it? He's, without me, you'd have a mother, you'd have a father, blah, 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 you'd have children. I'm just like, oh, wow, damn.
You had the tears welling up.
Yeah. No, it was good. That was probably one of my favourite scenes. Obviously, the Dragon Arena scene was the big show point of the episode, which was cool. Like, as much as I'm like, it's all moving too fast, I did love seeing everybody all together
Yeah.
in one arena. That was really cool.
I was really impressed at the Hound lifting that crate. Do you think that, there were wires or something, or was he really doing that? Because,
He's a strong guy.
I mean, I know that when he's carrying the crate, the guy's not in it or whatever, but it still looked like a really big crate.
It's probably like a styrofoam prop crate. Yeah. I did love. Which I think a lot of people are only just kind of realising now. There's been a few articles that I've seen about it that when Bronn sort of pieces out quite early on into that scene, I went, oh, I bet Cersei's turning up in a second, and then whoop, 2 seconds later, Cersei turns up. Because the story behind it is that the Bronn guy and the Cersei lady were doing the do, and they had a really bad breakup, and now they won't be in scenes together anymore.
In real life.
They
were getting it on.
Yeah.
Gosh. So, God, there's so much to talk about with this episode, but I'm just totally blank on what happened. There was the grift. It turned out that Sansa and Arya, who had been dumb girls, were actually smart girls again.
Yeah, which was something that I was really hoping for, because that whole storyline was garbage, and I was really worried that it was actually serious, and I was really... On one hand, I was happy that I was sort of right that I'd picked it, but on the other hand, I was very unhappy because Littlefinger's one of my favourites, and I think he is one of the more interesting characters in the show, but I think the show had run out of things to do with him, and it was time for him to toddle off.
I'm curious to see what George R. R. Martin does with him in the future. When I say see, I mean hear about someone tell
read
me.
on Wikipedia.
I don't want to read the book, but because it really felt like he had maybe a real sort of interest in the Iron Throne and maybe a chance. There are lots of earlier seasons where he's seen standing, staring at it and stuff. And really, when you look at his arc now, he pissed a lot of people off, did some things that kind of seemed foolish, and then got his throat cut. So all his master plans, I always felt that, he was going to have a bit more up his sleeve.
Yeah, and I don't they'd really established him as a real sort of master schemer, and for him to be undone by Arya is a bit show, did you really give him the out that he deserved? And
we're just going to cut your throat. We're not going to
Yeah, well, I guess in that respect it was a bit sort of ironic or, poetic that he had the same ending as Catelyn Stark did, having his throat cut when he loved her so much. But yeah, I don't know if it's I like Littlefinger a lot, and I was pretty sad to see him go, and I would have liked him to maybe go a little bit differently, but a lot of people were very happy that he went the way that he did.
Well, it doesn't mean that the actor is gone. He could always come back as a relative with a different hairstyle.
Yes.
Middle finger. Maybe. And come and that's for the sequels. You can have that one for free.
Prequel. His dad's middle finger.
His dad's middle finger.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And the prequel. Great. Yeah. Just him with glasses and... yeah.
With a weird speech impediment. Shansha. Chaos is a ladder.
And, I feel like... I know work colleagues are predicting, well, the wall will come down and we'll see the guy on the dragon and that'll be the end. And sure enough, that's what happened.
Yeah, I think the big question with that final scene is Tormund okay?
Yeah.
Really, that's all I give a shit about.
I feel they need a witness. You did point out Bran was warging maybe those ravens, so maybe he was the witness. But hopefully Tormund was able to protect himself, covered himself with his beard, and dug out of all that mess.
I hope so. I really do love Tormund, and if that was his death, then that sucks for Tormund. He doesn't deserve that.
Yeah, I think that we would have had more of a shot if it was intended for him to be dead. I still reckon, surely Bran's going to walk this zombie dragon at some point and solve that problem. Otherwise, what are you doing, Bran, apart from just being creepy and less interesting now?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Bran can see everything, and literally the only useful thing he's done up to this point is, told his sisters that Littlefinger's a bit of a creepy pedo. And it's well, Bran, you've gone on quite a journey. You need to start pulling your weight here, buddy.
And can we, I don't want to embolden and encourage the Trumps of this world, but couldn't we say, in terms of Game of Thrones lore, that walls work? Like, the wall has been very effective.
Yeah, for
it's been
thousands of
effective
years.
for thousands of years.
Yeah.
And even though, Night King, everything's starting to happen and everyone was getting a little bit antsy, remember they attacked the wall a couple of seasons ago and they were defeated. Also, this whole season, they've just been shuffling around in the snow north of the wall, but haven't attacked the wall or done anything successful at all. And it's not that they've been travelling, they've just been
Hanging around.
Because we've seen everyone else has been zipping around all over Westeros and they've been fine. So the only reason that suddenly the wall failed was because they had the dragon. And the only reason they had the dragon was because of Jon's fucking stupid idea of going and kidnapping Skeleton Man. So, Jon.
It's all Jon's fault.
Dickhead.
Jon is a dickhead.
He's got some...
I don't like Jon.
Aegon his face. Aegon his face. Aegon his face.
Yeah, we were discussing it at work, and I was like, isn't that Aegon the Conqueror? Isn't he named after that guy? So we Googled it, and there's about, Aegon is the royal name. Like, there's 5 or 6 Aegons already.
Yeah, right.
So he would be, Aegon the 7th. Or something. I thought that Cersei was going to have Jaime killed. For a second there.
I don't think they had the guts. I think they...
Well, I was shocked that... Because there's the bit where she nods at the mountain. And I thought, oh, fuck. Wow. Okay. This is not what I was expecting. But then someone else said, oh, no, she nodded to the mountain to get him to move aside. And I'm like, well, no, he drew his sword. So I was a bit, oh, Jesus. But then, it all sort of petered out and he walked off and presumably going north now to fight with the others.
I think they had the balls because they just have backed away from everything like that whole season. They keep putting characters in these situations of, will this main character kill the other one, or is this main character going to go? No, they've escaped. But I thought it was weird that the mountain drew the sword. What's the point of having a big Frankenstein-y dude if he's going to use a sword? Like, fucking anyone could use the sword. He should have crushed his head.
Yes, he should have.
Like, that's what you do when you're a big Frankenstein monster dude. Not fucking bring out a tool that...
The Hound's going to end up killing the mountain, right?
Well, surely.
Yeah.
They're going to have a bit of a battle. But I guess the problem is, as we go into a final season... I find it hard to imagine that they will have the sort of intimacy that moment deserves. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they clash on the battlefield and, they spend 10 minutes with it and it all happens. But, that's a sort of battle that could
a million
have been,
other things happening around
it could have been
them.
an interesting focal point to an episode
Yeah.
instead. But there you go.
And I think the pieces for my Jaime's going to kill Cersei thing is starting to fall into place a little bit. I think ultimately he's going to realise that she's a danger and be the Queenslayer ultimately.
Yeah, I think that is a good echo. There's still this question of the child though. I can't imagine them wasting this child.
Yeah. I'm still not 100% convinced that it exists. So we'll see.
The room.
Yeah, she's rooming it.
All right, let's talk about how bad at sex Jon Snow is.
Oh, he's okay. Now, I'd said previously that I was a bit concerned about how the show was going to reveal this information, given that most people already knew what was going on. So when they had Bran doing the mansplain voiceover over the top of Jon being balls deep in Daenerys, that was just the most hysterical thing for me, and I was so happy. I could not have been happier with that reveal, and I was like, well, no, they did it. Good, well done, guys.
It's funny too that Bran reveals this information to all people is Sam.
Yeah.
And Sam happens to be, out of everyone in Westeros, the one that has the other piece of the information. So the idea that these two found each other and decided to share their secrets.
And the fact that Sam took credit for what Gilly had found. What a prick.
Oh, he did, didn't he? Like, he didn't even act like he was listening at that point. Where was Gilly? She didn't even get any screen time.
Exactly. And it wasn't like, oh, Gilly found this thing. He's like, oh, I found out this information. Yeah. Fuck you, Sam.
Oh, that's what Gilly was saying when I was rudely worrying about something else. Yeah, he was like, oh, yeah, I know this. But yeah, like, Jon and Daenerys did the business.
Yeah, and it was an incredibly unsexy sex scene. It was like they were trying to make sure that no one showed any genitals.
Looked like a very gentle deflowering or something, whereas compared to Khal Drogo, the Khal Drogo rodeo from season 1, very different bit of business.
Yes.
Yeah, and my heart breaks for Jorah. It was probably in the hearing the headboard slam into the wall throughout the night,
crying himself to the point of dehydration. He was a husk of a man the next day. Yeah. So what do we think this means for next season? Do we think that this is going to cause conflict, or it's going to strengthen their bond? Because I don't think Daenerys isn't going to give a shit that they're related. Like, she was willing to marry her brother. Like, she doesn't care. Or do we think that now that he is the rightful heir, that she's going to be a bit cranky about that and think, well, I've put in all of this hard work for all of these years, and now some fucking dude who has never wanted it is just going to come in and be given what I wanted all along.
But is the baby going to change that? Because you would think Jon is a man of responsibility and honour, and he's not going to let a bastard happen. So, and she's always wanted a child, and she was so stoked when she was going to have that. What was the baby that the horse and they'll conquer the world?
Oh yeah, the horse that'll mount the world.
The horse will sit on the world's face and wiggle. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's the thing. Like, there's an initial kind of, we shouldn't have done this. This is wrong. Blah blah blah. Oh, but I'm pregnant. Oh well, then let's be a happy family. And I don't know. I really think they're going to end up together, unless there's some sort of tragic circumstances lead us to go our separate ways at the end or whatever. But I think in terms of solving the problem, they will be together.
Well, we've got another 12 months before we find out, so...
It's only been another, 6 or 7 episodes anyway.
Yeah.
And then we're all done.
Yeah, we're going to be teleporting all over the place very quickly for about 7 episodes.
Yeah, and Theon... I was hoping he would just get the shit beaten out of him and left buried. But,
no, he lives to fight another day.
He's going to get his redemption arc, it looks like.
Yeah, do we really care about Theon anymore?
No, I fucking hate Theon.
Yeah.
And that was, I'm pretty sure that was Brendan Cowell.
It was.
Yeah,
yep, it was.
Beat him up.
Yeah, as soon as he came out, I was just like, you bloody legend, Brendan Cowell.
An Australian.
Yes, he's on, he used to be a very, very long time ago in the 90s. He was on a show called Life Support, which is a parody of those kind of lifestyle shows, and it is very, very funny. I think there's a few bits of it on YouTube. I highly recommend it if you've never seen it or haven't seen it for a long time. It's still really good.
Yeah. So, look, it was a series of Game of Thrones that... really
changed the game. I think felt like a very different show.
It was a very different show. I think there was a lot to criticize. I think there was a lot that had sort of changed, which didn't perhaps match the richness of some of the earlier seasons. But all that said, it was a pretty entertaining ride. Yeah,
it was. I think I wavered significantly between I'm really enjoying this and this is really annoying me, but yeah, look, ultimately it was fine. I don't know. I think the thing with the previous seasons is that it would be slow, and then something massive and satisfying would happen, and it didn't kind of feel like that for me. There was nothing like that. The episode where the Citadel blew up and then Tommen killed himself. There's nothing like that.
Yeah.
That just made you go, oh, wow, okay, wow.
And I have empathy for the showrunners and everything, because
they're never going to win.
And for George R.R. as well. Like, you're kind of backed into a corner. We've got to then take this very complicated thing and sort of unravel it all and then reweave it into something that has some kind of resolution in a relatively short time. And, they're doing what they're having to do. But I think they've definitely lost that element of surprise. Like, most of the things that people have thought were going to happen or
have happened,
theories are now just rolling out exactly as expected. And I guess that's because maybe that's really, what else can you do? Like, if all those things were seeded, and that's the natural conclusion for those things, even
You can't
though we've all
not do
predicted
them.
it.
Yeah, you can't not do them just because people have picked it.
And if you pull a big twist and go, oh no, it's this, but that thing wasn't actually earned or seeded in the previous, then that's not cool. So, yeah. All right, so there you go. Game of Thrones. That was another fuck yeah. So
Yeah, all done.
we're free of being chained to a TV series, unless there's another TV series that we should fuck yeah later in the year.
Well, I think Vikings is coming back soon, so I think that might be our next victim.
I don't know how many listeners listen to Vikings, but maybe now's your time to catch up, because Vikings is rad and I love Lagertha.
I love Lagertha too.
Lagertha's
Goddamn
the best.
Lagertha.
All right, well, that's a show, I think.
That's it.
A bit of a longer one today.
Yeah.
Well,
We'll see you next time.
judges.
Camelot.